Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Juan Rodas. Today we have Richmond native center midfielder for New Mexico United, Saalih Muhammad. Saalih, how are you doing today in New Mexico, representing the Bay Area?
Yeah, nah, man, I'm doing good. Getting ready for our game tomorrow. We got a big game coming up against first place Phoenix, and just trying to stay ready and get prepared mentally for that. So I'm feeling good though.
Most definitely. And obviously, previously we were talking about you being a native from the Bay Area, and if you could talk to us about your upbringing in Richmond, representing 510.
Yeah, nah, man. I mean, Richmond is it's a special place. First I got my first taste of soccer there. It's a very diverse community too, man. With from the mix of Black people and Latin people out there. It's one of those places that even with all the diversity and even though Richmond has its rough elements to it, it's still a beautiful city, man. And it's kind of overlooked when people talk about the Bay Area too. But I love it, man, and it holds a special place in my heart, and it's a place that I carry with me everywhere, and I want to represent proudly.
Most definitely. And if you could also talk to us, about your name, Saalih Muhammad. We previously talked about it too, but it's a very interesting and unique name. But if you could tell the viewers, what does it mean?
Yeah, so Saalih means righteous, Ghana means warrior king, and Muhammad means worthy of praise. So my father, my grandfather converted to Islam in prison, and we all naturally, my family, my father, he converted to Islam and grew up Muslim, and he passed that name along to me, and he was very diligent in choosing this name. He wanted to give me a name with meaning. Because he believes that a name is what guides you in life, and you can't change it. You hold on to it forever, and it's a kind of precursor of what you can accomplish in life. So I'm thankful for my father for that.
That's dope. And then obviously, as little kids, we tend to try out different sports: soccer, track, basketball, baseball. But in your case, Saalih, was soccer the only sport that you fell in love with in playing?
Yeah, man. I mean, I mixed it around a little bit here and there when I was younger. My dad was a basketball coach, but for the most part, it was soccer through and through, man. I can't tell you exactly what made me choose soccer. It just kind of happened naturally. And, I've been loving it ever since, man. And it's brought me all the way here.
For sure. And then what high school did you go to in Richmond? Was it Richmond High or no?
No, I went to El Cerrito High.
El Cerrito High.
I went up to El Cerrito High for 2 years, and then I went to Croatia after that. But yeah, so I was up there for 2 years, man, and I played varsity in my freshman year, and then I stopped playing because me and the coach weren't seeing eye to eye, and I feel like I wasn't getting challenged enough. But it was a good school, though, and you got a good mix of you get some wealthy kids from the El Cerrito Hills and stuff like that, but then you got people from Richmond going up there, so. Is diverse economically, but also culturally.
Yeah, for sure. And then so you started playing varsity freshman year, but what happened to sophomore, junior, and varsity?
So my sophomore year, at the end of my sophomore year, I moved to Croatia, and I was there. I went there when I was 16, and from 16 to 21, I was in Croatia playing soccer.
Talk to us about that. Well, did your whole family move to Croatia? Was it just you, and why?
Yeah, it was just me, man. I went, and the club invited me there for 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, they extended the tryout for another week. And I stayed, and they told me they wanted me to stay. And, I moved out there by myself. It was tough because, my family couldn't just uproot and leave everything like that. But it was a tough moment for me in life in terms of being in a foreign country. But I always was able to see the light at the end of the tunnel and always see the good in it. I met some amazing people, and you figure things out. When you move somewhere, you can either choose to say, you know what, I don't like this place, and you just don't try and search out things that you may like. But I actively chose to go and look for and find people that would make my time enjoyable there.
Most definitely. And from my understanding, Saalih, the team in Croatia was Dinamo Zagreb, a team in Croatia that tends to play in the Champions League football. But if you could talk to us about your stay in Croatia, but how did the team get in contact with you? Because from Croatia to Richmond, it's hella far, you know.
I know. Nah, man. So I went to a camp in Walnut Creek that was organized from a friend of mine that had relationships with Dinamo Zagreb. And from the camp, I was one of the better players, so they invited me out for a trial.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got out there, man, it was such a new world for me because, you had young guys signing contracts and playing professional soccer with their own apartments and homes. And the level of competition was so much higher and so much more cutthroat than anything I had experienced before.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it was a new environment for me. And it took me a while to adjust. Unfortunately, it took me a little too late. But, it was really good to experience that. I got to watch Real Madrid play. I got to watch Lyon and some of the top clubs in Europe come through and play. And some of even the top players in Europe, And so it was a good experience for me, man. And, I'm really glad, regardless of what the outcome was, ultimately in Croatia, I'm really happy I made that choice.
For sure. And then were some of, the difficulties, possibly the language barrier, culture shock, maybe even the food that you possibly didn't like?
Yeah, I mean, I think culturally, in terms of just there being a lack of black people there, man, that was really tough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you naturally, you connect with your people, and in terms of, you have shared experiences, you guys raised the same way, and, you guys can share in moments that, you see each other and sharing each other with. And, so I was missing on that a little bit. But, there definitely are similarities here and there. But, so that was hard. And then learning the language wasn't too hard because a lot of people there spoke English, so they were able to translate a lot of things for me. And I made it a mission of mine to learn the language too.
That's dope.
So, and the food, man, the food was actually pretty good. I can't lie. The food was actually pretty good. So, it's not the worst place in the world, fortunately. But, yeah, so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the cultural element of it,
For sure. And then, so when you left your freshman year, from my understanding, was that possibly considered maybe a dropout from high school, or did you still continue your education in Croatia?
No, it was a dropout. I just completely left.
Damn.
My dad was in full support. Some people in my family were definitely like, "Oh, you should go to school," and that's natural. I understand that, and it was coming from a good place. But when you love something so much, and you have a passion and desire to do something, you have to. When the opportunity comes, they don't come often.
Yeah.
You have to take it. You can't. You have to be a risk taker at times. And just jump off and just see, where it takes you.
For sure. So you now speak fluent Croatian. Could you possibly give us, maybe a sentence or two for us?
Pa može. Ja sam Saalih Muhammad. Ja živim u New Mexico I ja volim nogomet pre mucho I pre puno. I ja volim da živ tu u New Mexico I hvala za ovaj interview.
That's cool. And then is it hella cold there too? And obviously in the winter it is, right? Freeze? It's cold?
Yeah. It was my first time experiencing any snow. And that was crazy. That was a shock for me. California, we don't get any of that.
Yeah.
And I remember one morning I went to sleep and I wake up. One night I go to sleep and the next morning I wake up, there's snow up to my knee. And I'm just like, whoa, what the hell? And you got to train and live in that. You adjust to it, but man, it is pretty difficult. But it's nice though, because everything is quiet when it's snowing because the snow absorbs sound.
Yeah.
So it's peaceful. It's very peaceful. So I enjoyed that about the wintertime.
For sure. And then were there any first team opportunities to play for the first team for Dinamo Zagreb, or how was that situation?
I trained with the first team a couple times, but I never really was able to get anything tangible. I was lacking, man, just that mentality, and also I think just that support, not having my father there or anybody really backing me.
Yeah.
It made it really tough, because I couldn't play because I also wasn't 18, and FIFA has a rule that says any players under the age of 18 living in the country without their family aren't allowed to play. So I never really got the opportunity to like catch my momentum and prove myself day to day and game to game. So I missed out on a lot of opportunities like that. You know, and unfortunate, but maybe for the better, because maybe had I did play, I'd still be there maybe, and who knows if I would have broken through the first team or whatever, you know. But so I got to taste it a little bit. I did train with the first team on occasion, and that was a really good experience for me.
That's good, but I'm guessing that you still possibly have a connection, maybe in the future, to maybe go back to Croatia. Do you have contacts out there?
Yeah, I definitely still have people that I talk to out there, and people are still involved in soccer out there. You know, and I think that if it was something I wanted to do, I would be able to do it. It wouldn't be hard.
Most definitely. And then so obviously, you know, leaving Croatia, not possibly going to prom, or, you know, going to all these parties, or even playing high school varsity. Was it really hard for you to, apart obviously from family, but was it hard to leave your friends and everything?
Nah, like, not really. I felt like I wasn't really missing out on anything, because, like, I was gaining so much, right? Like, I went there and I was, you know, I started, like, going to the club and, you know, like, you know, things that kids weren't allowed to do here. You know, I'm out there going to the club and, you know, with adults and stuff like that. And, you know, doing just, like, very, like, mature and, like, very mature things at a young age, man. Like cooking for myself, cleaning, washing my own clothes. Like, you know, it taught me how to have discipline. But I really enjoyed that, man, because I was free. You know, I didn't have anyone telling me what to do and when to do it. So, you know, like, there's always an element of me that I miss America and, like, miss high school a bit. But, you know, that was small compared to, like, me enjoying the experience and just, like, being able to stay out as late as I wanted to. You know, just do whatever I wanted to. So it was cool, man.
That's dope. And now transitioning, Saalih, obviously when it's game day, you, like how you mentioned, you focus completely on game day. When you practice, But what do you like to do in your free time, you know?
No, you know, I like to read. I like to, you know, to be honest, man, I really like to just chill sometimes, in terms, like, not so much just in the house, but I'll go to a park and, you know, people say meditation and stuff like that now, but you know, I just call it quiet time or whatever. I spend some time listening to music, you know, or watching an interview, or doing something that, like, I feel that I need in that moment, you know. And so there's no real routine to it. But, you know, sometimes I like to go on hikes. I like to, you know, watch movies, or, you know, I like to learn. I like to learn something new, you know, also. That's a big thing. So it really just depends on the day, you know, and how I'm feeling. Because I don't really like to get set too much into a routine and become too predictable. So I try to, like, break it up. And so there's not one thing that I'm like, oh, like, I totally enjoy doing. But I just like to live, man, try to experience life as much as I can, you know.
That's good, man. And then obviously, if I'm not wrong, Saalih, you play center midfielder for New Mexico United. But if you had the chance to have dinner with the legendary center midfielder, who would it be with, and why?
That's a good question, man. Maybe Luka Modric or Patrick Vieira. You know, I think Luka Modric, because we could have a shared experience, and him making it to that point after having, you know, his route to get there was pretty unconventional in the early stages. He wasn't like some super young phenom. You know, he had to struggle a little bit before he got there. And then Patrick Vieira, because we have similar playing styles, and, you know, how much he commanded that midfield for Arsenal, covering ground and just being a beast. And, you know, I would definitely love to understand, you know, his approach and his mentality behind how he played and why he played the way he did.
For sure. Have you ever met Luka Modric or any big Croatian stars right now in the time you spent in Croatia?
I got to meet Mateo Kovacic.
Wow.
I played with a couple guys now who've played Champions League and whatnot. I've met Croatian legends, but I think the most famous right now I've met is Mateo Kovacic, but I've got to see Croatia train up close.
Wow.
Mario Mandzukic, Luka Modric, and like some of these guys playing at some of the biggest clubs in the world.
That's cool, man. And also, if you could talk to us about a player that you possibly admired as a little kid, because as little kids, we tend to look up to big stars.
Yeah. No, the big one for me was Thierry Henry. I used to play striker when I was younger, and so my dad used to love showing me like different strikers, and Thierry Henry, man, like
legend.
The legend, man. Just like how much composure and class and poise that he played with was like it was hard to beat, man. Like he was so graceful and elegant on the ball, and the way he would score goals, and very, very cultured way of playing football.
Very true. And then, what are your goals that you still want to accomplish? Because if I'm not wrong, you're only 25. You're still extremely young, and you played for Penn, for Deltas, now New Mexico. You spent time in Croatia, and some with Portland. But what are your goals to accomplish?
My goal is to get to the MLS, and I want some national team camps, caps.
Hell yeah.
That's my goal for me, and I know it's not far off. It's just a matter of just being patient, man, and just like being able to like understand that it doesn't happen in a month. It doesn't happen in 2 months. It happens over the course of years, and being patient, and that's the ultimate goal. And then from there, revise new goals. But as of right now, I want to reach the pinnacle here in my country, and then that will open doors for me to be able to do it in other areas. The ultimate goal will of course be to play in Champions League and a World Cup. But just taking it step by step.
Most definitely, and I wish you the best of luck in all your goals, and hopefully you can let's say you can achieve all of them.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
For sure. And then, what league would you like to play in? Because, like how you said, you possibly would want to play Champions, but what league attracts you and intrigues you, and why?
I think, of course, the EPL. The EPL is one of the leagues, but I really enjoy the Bundesliga too. I enjoy watching the Bundesliga a lot. So it'd be between those two leagues. I think that those two leagues kind of suit my style of play. Physical, but also technical. And I think that's a big thing to succeed in either of those two leagues, is having that physical strength and endurance.
Most definitely. And after your time with Dinamo Zagreb, if I'm not wrong, and you can correct me if I am, you spent time with Portland. If you could talk to us about how did you end up in Portland and how was the overall experience?
So I ended up getting an agent at my midpoint before my second stint in Croatia. My agent ended up getting me to Portland. And it was okay, man. I expected more in terms of more opportunities to break into the first team, and they just weren't there. They all expected me to go to college, and I didn't want to take that route. I kind of I stood firm on that, and I just really didn't want to take that route. That wasn't for me, and so it never really opened any doors for me. But I love Portland as a city. And I think that it's better now, the organization, in terms of producing young players, but it still needs some work. I still think that a lot of MLS teams need to start putting more time and effort and energy into producing young talent.
Completely agree with that. And obviously, and you signed with your first professional contract with Hussle in Croatia. If you could talk to us about, how was it feeling signing your first professional contract? Were you extremely happy, and who did you call first?
I was really happy, man, because I worked really hard to get to that point. And my dad is always the first person, because he's been one of the biggest supporters and someone who's been there through the thick and thin. And so he's always like my first call. But it felt good, man. I think that in that first moment, it's extremely enjoyable. But it also says to you, like, okay, like there's more work to do. This isn't the ultimate goal. This is just one step in the line of the journey. Yeah. So I enjoyed the moment, but I also was able to keep my mind focused on the long term.
That's good. And if you could also talk to us about your relationship with your father.
Man, me and my dad are really close, man, and like he's someone who, you know, from just a kid, just always constantly giving me advice and giving me knowledge and wisdom that I could apply in, you know, my day-to-day life. And he's just been, you know, great support. You know, honestly, a role model and just someone like I want to model myself after in terms of being a father and being a son, and, you know, just being a good man.
Most definitely. And eventually, you know, you come back to San Francisco in the Bay Area. You signed with SF Deltas. If you could talk to us about that experience, being back in the Bay after, you know, maybe a couple years of being outside of the United States. How was that? And winning the championship as well.
Yeah. No, it was cool, man, because I was happy and excited to see a professional team come to the Bay Area, and I felt like it was long overdue. Unfortunately, the team folded, and I had the injury, so I wasn't able to play and, you know, kind of take advantage of the opportunity in that way. But I was able to just be there and, you know, kind of be with some really high-level professionals and guys who have played in the MLS, won MLS championships, and guys who played in first division in Brazil, and, you know, really accomplished professionals. And so it was a really good experience for me. And, you know, I really do wish that the team was still around. It's really unfortunate what happened, but, you know, it's honestly it was just an amazing year, man. Just, you know, honestly, it felt like it was scripted, you know.
Yeah. But now we can possibly, you know, hope for the best for Oakland Roots.
Yeah, honestly, you know, I got a friend playing on the Roots, a couple guys that I know, and
Devontae?
You know, Devontae and even Johannes, and you know, I really, really, really hope that you know, that this club, that Oakland Roots club, will stay around for a long time and possibly even go to the USL. Man, I think that the Bay Area needs that, and you know, they've been feeding and wanting that, and I think that it can only continue to grow.
Most definitely, I completely agree, and hope for the best for Oakland too. You know, because like how you said, it was sad to see SF Deltas go, but hopefully Roots can do better.
Yeah, for sure.
This new season, 2019, you signed with New Mexico United. Talk to us about, you know, how that all came about and how was your overall experience as of right now?
So my agent, he reached out to the club and they invited me in for a trial. Made the team, and, you know, man, it's still kind of surreal because, you know, not only do not a lot of expansion teams get this kind of support, but teams in the USL in general.
Yeah.
And we've been getting a massive amount of support from, you know, the fan base here. And you know, it's really nice, man. And it feels like it almost feels like the professionalism of the club is a European style, but the fan base is almost like South American. Like when you go to the games, like there's drums beating, it's loud, the fans are engaged, and, you know, like it's a very unique environment and special place to be, and I'm really happy to be here, part of this club.
That's great. And then how long more do you have a contract with New Mexico?
I have for this year and then next year.
So one more guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's good. And obviously, you know, playoffs are coming around the corner. I think if I'm not wrong, you guys are 7th or 8th, right around the cusp of making playoffs. And tomorrow you guys have an important game. Talk to us about the locker room. How's the environment? How are everybody like within the team?
Now the camaraderie is really good. You know, we've hit a rough patch here and there during this year, and that's going to come with the first year team and guys just getting to know each other, and coaching staff just getting to know each other also. But, you know, we have a very unique group of guys in terms of how well our personalities all mesh together. That's not to say, you know, there aren't arguments or, you know, a little friction and stuff. Like, you know, there's 23 people in the locker room and on one team. Of course, there's going to be that. But, you know, it's never been an issue. I don't come in and to the locker room and feel like I don't want to play with these guys.
Yeah.
You know, I get out on the field and fight for every single one of these guys on this team.
That's good that you have everybody's back. And then also, apart from soccer, if you could mention to us, you know, your favorite music, possibly maybe a Bay Area artist and possibly food as well.
No, I'm hip hop. You know, I mean, yeah, like hip hop all the way. I can't even front on that one.
Yeah.
My favorite artist, unfortunately, you know, was Nipsey Hussle. You know, he was someone that, like, I felt like my life was running parallel with him when he was, you know, going through the beginning stages of building his career. You know, I felt like I was in that same stage. And, you know, when Crenshaw came out and, you know, Mailbox Money, and, you know, I was watching all his interviews and taking so much inspiration and, you know, knowledge and wisdom and game from him.
Yeah.
So he was like he's definitely my favorite artist, like hands down, man. You know, and he's someone that, you know, I'll forever listen to his music and forever be inspired by.
Hell yeah.
And, you know, food for me, it varies. I just try to eat as healthy as possible. You know, of course, I love chocolate chip cookies. I love chocolate chip cookies. Like, that's
Hell
my,
yeah,
that's
me
my,
too.
Yeah, man, that's my thing. But for the most part, I got to break it up. I like kale salad, too. So I try to break it up and make sure I eat as healthy as possible, but it also tastes good, you know what I mean?
Most definitely. And also, could you possibly name us about your favorite teammate that you've had throughout maybe to Croatia right now with New Mexico?
Probably Devin Sandoval, man. Probably Devin Sandoval. I think, you know, he's been someone. When I first came here, his family opened their home to me, and he's been, you know, someone I admire his dedication to football and his dedication to wanting to be a better person and being a good family man and just being a humble dude, man. Like, he means so much to the state of New Mexico, and to see him, you know, never let that get to his head and continue to work every day. You know, I love it.
And then, if I'm not wrong, you guys also had a relationship, right? Because you guys played together at SF Deltas, correct?
Yeah, so we played in San Francisco together, and you know, that was of course the first time I met him, and like we developed a cool little relationship there. Especially when I was living in the apartments, and then, you know, when I moved out, we still kept in contact and stuff. But he's the reason I'm here. Honestly, you know, he was the one who reached out to the coaching staff, and he's also one of the reasons, you know, that they were able, you know, willing to take a chance on me because he vouched for me.
That's good, man. That's good, you know, to have people like that believe in you, and it's great to see you with New Mexico.
Exactly.
But if you could also tell us about, you know, do you have a playlist going into a game, you know, especially tomorrow, which is an important game for you guys? Do you have like a playlist, maybe Nipsey, Hussle, YG?
Yeah. No. So I have a playlist, and it's called Mastery. And the reason I call it Mastery is because all the songs in there I listen to, and I said to myself, these people made this song with the intention of being masters and mastering this song and being masters of their craft. And I feed off that energy of someone put in so much time, effort, and, you know, and energy into wanting to do something right and to do it at great. You know what I mean? So the playlist consists of a lot of people, man. Jay-Z, there's some Ye in there, there's some Nip, there's some, I even got a little bit of jazz in there, got a little bit of, mainly hip-hop though. Yeah, I got Pac, I got Biggie, I got, you know, even Russ, I got Royce the 5'9", I got some Eminem, I got this dude Peasy. I didn't put E40 in there. I got one song. One song from E40. But yeah, man, I got a good mix of artists though.
For sure. And any possibly favorite song from the playlist?
Yeah, Nipsey Hussle, Dedication.
That's a good one.
I think Jay-Z, Moonlight. What else do I really like? Really lock into? Kendrick, DNA is a good one too. Yeah, so those are like three of the ones that, like, when I really want to get in my zone though, I just listen to Nip. Man.
For sure. And then if you could take this, you know, a day throughout your daily life, if you could.
Yeah, wake up, I go to practice around, you know, 9 or 10. Practice for a day, then I go meet up with my girl and we chill, and then maybe I'll read, maybe I'll, you know, grab a little bit of food, but it kind of differs, man. But usually practice always in the morning. I'll go to the gym sometimes a little bit, like an hour or two afterwards, and, you know, just kind of shape my day around that.
Most definitely. And then obviously, you know, being a Richmond native, have you ever, you know, possibly thought about opening an academy in Richmond, California for possibly younger African-American kids or even Latinos that aspire to become a professional like yourself? You know, because I'm pretty sure you being one of the few in Richmond, you know, you've probably made a lot of noise out there, but have you thought about, you know, possibly opening up an academy? But not right now, because you're hella young, possibly like 10, 15 years, you know?
Yeah. I have, man. And it's something me and my dad have talked about. because I think there needs to be, I think there's an opportunity for someone, if they came in with structure, to really develop talent and make Richmond, the hotbed for, talent in America.
Yeah.
And, it's a goal I want to do. And, not only that, within that academy, I also want to do, education and, really make sure that it's something that is deeper than just the soccer, that, that when kids become involved in this academy, they become greater human beings instead of just soccer players.
Exactly. And then if you could tell us something we don't know about Saalih Muhammad.
I was born with club feet. For the first 2 years of my life, I had a cast on my feet and I couldn't walk.
Wow.
And they had to stick needles in my feet to straighten them out.
Wow.
And, honestly, it's amazing that, I'm playing sports, because I really shouldn't be able to play sports, let alone soccer.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. And, that's one thing not a lot of people really know about me. And, I think it's just a testament, to God's power, man, and, placing people in certain situations.
Most definitely. And then if you weren't to be a professional soccer player, Saalih, what would you think your profession would be?
That's a good question, man. I think I've thought about that. I think, I really enjoy music, maybe like jazz musician or something like that. But also, I do enjoy school, maybe like a psychologist. I enjoy psychology. So either one of those two things.
For sure. And then if you weren't, let's say, from the various games that you have played, in your career, could you possibly name the best game that you have played?
I would say against Minnesota United. I think the game against Minnesota United was a big one for me. To test my level and see where I was really at. And it was a really good game for me, because we ended up losing that game, but even with us losing, I still was able to show my ability and showcase my ability.
Was that again? That was an Open Cup, correct?
Open Cup, yeah.
Okay, not bad. And then toughest defender that possibly has marked you?
It's a good question. It's hard because playing in the midfield,
yeah, that's true.
You don't really. It's hard. I could say like maybe the best midfielder I played with or against was maybe like Christian Portilla. I thought he was really, really good.
He's from Spain,
I thought,
right?
Yeah, he was with Deltas, and he's a really good midfielder, and I really respected his playing style.
For sure. And then growing up in Richmond, like how you mentioned, there's a lot of Latinos too in Richmond. You speak a little bit of Español, un poquito. Nah,
not really, man. It's been something I've been pushing to learn, though. I really need to make that commitment and say to myself, like, I'm gonna learn it. But I think this off season is going to be one of my biggest focuses, is learning another language, especially mainly Spanish, because it's a language that you could take, to South America. You could take it to Europe. You could take it, so many different places, and be able to get around and do business.
That's good. That's good. And then what advice would you give to specifically young kids in Richmond that want to be a professional like yourself? Because obviously you dropped out of high school, but you made the best of it, and now you're a professional soccer player. What advice would you give?
I would say persevere, man. Like just continue, like no matter what, just stay focused and like continue to never waver on your dreams or what you wish to accomplish. I think that's the biggest thing, is that people quit when it gets a little too hard, and when you decide to quit, that's when the dream dies, or the vision dies. And I think the biggest thing is like continue to find inspiration, continue to learn from the people who come before you, who have done it, and like try to learn from people who are great, who have accomplished something that you admire, and like that you respect what they've done. Watch interviews, read books about those people, because then you can take what they use and apply that to your life. And that was the biggest thing for me.
That's good. And then obviously, in USA history, related to football, soccer, there has been a lot of good center mids, and obviously that's your position. But in your opinion, who do you think is possibly one of the best center mids in USA history in soccer?
I would say Clint Dempsey, even though he wasn't necessarily a holding mid, just that attacking mid role. He's a player that I really enjoyed watching on the national team because he played with that little bit of edge and with that little bit of fire. That a lot of guys in the U.S. don't play with. It's almost few and far between because he had tough upbringing. He had to fight and claw for where he got to get to where he got, and it showed in the way he played.
For sure. And then FIFA 20 came out recently. Do you, in your off time, do you possibly play FIFA?
Yeah, I do. Not so much this year because I got rid of my PS4, but last year I played a lot. But I play against my teammates every once in a while on the road and stuff like that. I like to think I'm pretty good too.
For sure. And then, what league do you know or do you like to watch? Possibly on the weekends.
I love the EPL games, especially early in the morning. Get a little coffee and watch those games. I like to break down the style of play. And I really like the Bundesliga and the Serie A too. I like to watch Inter Milan, Juve play. I think those are like best, mainly the top 3 leagues I would like to watch. And Spain is okay. But it's hard to really get that on TV. But I love the Italian games. I love the English game, but mainly the Premier League because it's so competitive.
Hell yeah. A favorite team?
Manchester United for sure. We've been struggling this year, but I'm still Man United through and through, man.
That's good. That's good that you're a faithful fan because there's a lot of people that bandwagon, and
yeah, exactly.
That ain't cool, man.
Nah, you gotta stick it out with your team, man. Be faithful and be loyal,
Exactly, I completely agree. And also, if you could talk to us, about traveling, because obviously in the U.S., I'm pretty sure you guys travel a lot, and sometimes 2-3 games, and you go to different states, going to different hotels, different time differences. But if you could talk to us about that, as a professional soccer player, and how you have to be mentally strong.
Yeah, no, I think that's the toughest part about playing in the USL. It's not necessarily the games and things. It's the travel, and it's really just about when you get on the road, making sure that you eat right and you sleep right, and you prioritize your sleep and your eating habits even more. Because it's hard when your routine is broken up. You're not home. You can't just drive to go to the grocery store you want to and things like that. Yep. Your freedom is severely limited. So you have to really make sure that you take that time and that extra effort to eat right and sleep right when you're on the road.
Well, I'm guessing it's nice, to travel and see different places, that you possibly haven't seen.
Yeah, no, it's been really cool. Sometimes we don't really always get out as much. Hotel. But, when we do get the chance to, we definitely go out and go experience some things, man. And that's really cool. That's the cool part about being a pro.
For sure. And then, as a professional soccer player, you sometimes tend to be traded to different teams. But if in your experience, if you have been traded, well, obviously you have. But if you could talk to us, about what goes through your mind, because obviously sometimes, especially in the MLS, it's one thing that they have to work on. Sometimes they don't even let the player know that they've already been traded, But in your case, how was that?
It's not too bad, man. You kind of get used to it. If I think you have to, everything is perspective and mentality, right? So you have to just come into it with you understand that it's a business. And, when you get the opportunity to, put yourself in a good position to get leverage against the team, you have to do it. Because the teams, they won't hesitate to do the same thing to you. Yep. So, it's a part of the game, and, you gotta take it, take it or leave it with it, because it's inescapable, and that's just the reality of any business. It's going to be cutthroat, and it's going to be, you're going to get moved and traded, and you just kind of got to keep pushing and deal with it.
That's true. Any rituals for you, possibly before a game?
Nah, not really. Just music, man. That's pretty much it. I think that I don't like to get too involved in ritual because, if you become too dependent on ritual, if that ritual somehow gets disrupted, you're all out of whack. So I mix it up. I don't depend too much on ritual or routine.
Okay, for sure. And then if you could also talk to us, about what did you do with your first check that you gained from Mask in Croatia, and what did you do with it, and how did you feel about it?
Just save it and spend it on some food. wasn't that much money. So, you know, it was definitely a struggle a bit. But, you know, I was just like, yeah, put this away and go buy some food. And I'm a firm believer in investing into myself. And, you know, that means eating right and sleeping right and, you know, spending money that will ultimately help you get better at your craft. You know what I mean? So I'm always just trying to look for ways I can invest in myself.
To finalize the interview, Saalih, if you could talk to us about, you know, and within the locker room, who do you think, in your opinion, possibly maybe has the worst fashion of when it comes to maybe dressing?
You know what? I probably got to give that one to maybe Tommy Madden. You know, he definitely doesn't have, like, his sense of style isn't that great. You know, I'll just leave it at that. You know, he's kind of questionable.
What about possibly maybe the best one who dresses? Maybe you?
Nah, I'm like at the bottom, man. I'm gonna keep it real. You know, I don't put too much time into that.
Yeah.
I should though. I will. But I think up there, man, probably like Manny or Daniel Bruce. I think between those two, man, like they're really sharp. Especially Bruce. Daniel Bruce dresses really sharp, and so does Manny. So I think they're definitely up there.
For sure. Well, thank you for the input, and also, you know, I want to thank you for your time. You know, because obviously you have a girlfriend. You're in New Mexico. You're a professional soccer player, and you have an important game tomorrow. You know, so thank you so much for taking out of your time out of your day doing this for me. You know, so I want to wish you the best of luck. Hopefully, you guys do make playoffs, and hopefully one day I want to see you representing the USA all the way from Richmond, California, man. So I wish you the best of luck in everything.
No, thank you so much, man. I thank you, you know, for taking the time and, you know, showing interest in my life and, you know, my career. I think that, you know, regardless of how, you know, successful you become, I think that anyone taking the time and, you know, when you can, you know, anyone taking the time to reach out to you and show interest in your life, man, is unique and special because, you know, that doesn't happen. And, you know, you also have to understand the importance of that. So I appreciate you reaching out.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Well, thank you and take care.
No, take care.
Thank you for watching my video. If you guys could share it with your family members and friends, that would be much appreciated. To all the people around the world who watch my videos, thank you so much. If you could like and subscribe to my channel, I would love that a lot. Until next time, thank you.